Thank you.
Ryan was in a hurry always, even from the very beginning. He ended up being 2 weeks early. He was the kind of kid that lived hard and fast, sometimes really impetuous. So we had a couple of scares with him. Even, back in the beginning as a baby, he ended up being in the hospital almost right away after he was born for a couple of weeks. He had pneumonia, and that was pretty scary. But as a kid growing up, hard-headed and a little bit hard to keep reined in, but a good heart and smart, really smart. One of the things that helped with Ryan a lot was getting him involved in scouting at an early age, and he loved it. Made such a huge impact on who he was and who he grew up to be, because he with scouting, they teach a lot about being civically minded and doing the good deed and all of that, and he bought into it. He had such a big heart. He used to, read about kids in Africa and the plight of elephants and tsunamis and hurricane victims and, this kind of thing, where it was always something that he'd be learning about and just, I don't know how to say it other than just his heart would just bleed for these people that, halfway around the world that he'd never met. We were in Spokane, and about the time that Ryan was in 9th grade, I think it was, my husband, who was working in construction at the time, had a job in Pocatello. He came home with this wild hair, and he'd been in Spokane all his life, and said, "We're going, we're moving to southern Idaho." So. That summer after his 9th grade year and then moving to Pocatello in his 10th grade year, it was like night and day. I mean, going from the one end of the spectrum where nobody even thought about it, nobody even cared, with he being who he was, and then moving to Pocatello, and he had trouble right away. I mean, within 2 days of being in the school, it was like, pendulum swing all the way the other side. But first it was just things like calling them names, but that got progressively worse. I mean, you're gay or this or that, and then it was, you fucking faggot, and then they'd do things like steal his books or hide his books or steal his glasses. I had just bought him a $300 pair of glasses that got taken. He went to go talk to the teacher at her desk and came back and they were gone. With some friends, he went to a party, and he was literally dragged out of the house by a group of at least 3 of the, popular kids. They drug him out into the snow and they beat him up. Like, assaulted him, punched him in the stomach so hard that it made him throw up. I was so angry, and, tried to go talk to the school officials or the counselor, and just, it was kind of that kids would be kids type of thing. Well, by the semester break, my son, who had always been a straight A student, or A's and a few B's, was failing, and he was so miserable, and we just barely passed the rest of the 10th grade. And the end solution, what he wanted more than anything, was to go home. He just said, I gotta go. I can't live here anymore. And so we arranged for my husband's parents to take custody, guardianship of Ryan, so that he could move back to Spokane after his 10th grade year. Ryan came back after he'd been away for about 2 years. He'd started to have some health issues and was unable to work. So we told him, if you want to come home, come back down, we'll help. And, you know, the thought process for all of us, really, and mainly Ryan, was, I'm an adult now, I'm going to be looking for work and you know, when I can, and just interacting with the community as an adult versus going to school. So things should probably be better. You know, I have to deal with the bullies at Highland High School and all of that. What we found, though, was really that the experience for him was not much different in the adult world. The bullying that he faced as an adult, when it came to things like maybe trying to find an apartment or a job, was just silent. It's kind of an insidious, silent bullying that kids face, or really probably anybody in the LGBT community faces. You apply for a job that you know you're incredibly qualified for, but not get it. Go to look for an apartment, and then show up and have the person that's renting it realize that you're gay, and you can't get that one. All of a sudden it's rented when you get there. For a little while, his boyfriend moved from Virginia back to Pocatello so that he could live with Ryan there, and they had a horrible time together. Every time they'd be out, if they were just out and about, people were always staring and pointing, and it was just, it was really, really bad experience for him. It took a lot out of him. You know, in a period of 3 years, the child that I spent 15 years creating, a strong, capable, self-reliant, confident young man who literally, especially through his experience with scouting, if I'd had to pick one person to be stuck on a desert island with that wasn't my husband, it would have been my son. He changed. It was all gone. It ripped him to shreds. His confidence was gone. He struggled with really bad depression, the feelings of, it's me. Maybe it's me. There's something wrong with me. I'm defective somehow. Unwelcome, feeling unwelcome and unwanted. It was really sad to see. I mean, heartbreaking to watch. Little by little pieces of him chipped away until there was nothing left. He had talked about suicide a couple times, but we got him into some counseling and had him on the right medications, we thought. And he seemed to be doing better for the 6 or 7 months or so prior to his death. He seemed to be feeling better and more optimistic that he could get into school. He'd been trying to get into college so he could go back to school and all of that. And I the hardest thing for me was feeling like that I kind of let my guard down. I had been really at one time in his life on constant suicide watch, always watching and checking, and he was doing better, and I started to feel comfortable and kind of let my guard down. And I think for me the hardest aspect of Ryan's death was that it took me completely by surprise, and not half a year sooner it wouldn't have at all. But I was shocked. I thought he was doing all right. I thought we made it, And the day that we got the message from Ryan, my husband and I were in Boise on business, and I had just left a fly fishing expo, and our phones both beeped at the same time, and took them out, and we looked at them, and this message from Ryan came in that said, I'm so sorry. Please remember that this is not your fault. And I love you. I've always loved you. And I'm up at Pebble Creek. And obviously, there was just no doubt in either of our minds what it was. None whatsoever. Both knew right away that he was sending a goodbye message. We got the call about 2:15. And it was the coroner called to say that they'd found Ryan. He was gone. They'd found his body. We found out I had taken a firearm out of our home and drove in his two-wheel drive up the 7-mile hill to the top of it. Gotten out and walked up the side of the mountain in knee-deep snow. Literally knee-deep snow. He had on only a hoodie and some Ugg boots. I can't even imagine what he was thinking or how awful that would have been to feel that alone and that desperate and that determined to just get away from it all. I've had it. I'm so sick of it. I can't take it anymore. I mean, I can't imagine. Ryan left us a note at our house. He was supposed to be there with our dogs, and so, our dogs were there alone, and my daughter went. I got a hold of her and asked if she could please go check to see, if they were all right, and she found his note. It was up on his laptop. He typed it out. He said in the note, "Pocatello is the essence of evil. People are always judging you, pointing at you, staring at you because you're different. And I just can't do it anymore. I know suicide is selfish. My mom's always told me that suicide is the most selfish thing that you can do, and I agree. But I'm so sorry. I can't see another way out. I just can't do it another day." And he ended with the words, "Please don't remember me as a failure, but remember me instead as somebody who fought as long as he could."